This is nonsense. The solution we have it. Now you have to make sure that this Security Council, Peace Security Council, should be independent financially, not to be sponsored by
I have a more radical position, actually.
Yeah.
My radical position says you don't even need to create a budget.
Yes.
Just allow each country to take their national budget for security and submit it to Africa Union Security Council.
Yep.
In other words, you already have South Africa spending 1.3 billion on South African security. Zimbabwe maybe another 900 million. Zambia and the rest of the other countries. So, no, it's fine. The real solution is not to try and create a new budget of we need 60 soldiers. The national army of each country can just dissolve towards the African national army. Then overnight, and in some certain cases, you may not even need to move away from your base where you are. But then you can say the army generals come together so that Africa can have one national army.
I don't know that you get his argument.
Yes.
Instead of having an army for Uganda, an army for Kenya, an army for Congo, why don't you create one army for Africa? Does that need another budget? The very money that you are using in your own...
that's why always when it comes to unity, people start becoming intelligent.
Yes.
They want to start talking about, it's not difficult. How many soldiers do you have Zambia? How many soldiers do you have Somalia? How many soldiers? Tell me that if each country can contribute 500,000 soldiers per country times 54, you already have more than 2.35 million soldiers standing. 2.5 million soldiers standing can silence Congo overnight. Overnight. We don't even need to ask another world to come and help us stop the war in Sudan. Because we have the capacity within ourselves. So, and again, the weakness we have are our political leaders who want the chair more than they want the continent.
But then, don't you also think, Bishop Maponga, that the disunity you are seeing in African countries is a creation of the very people that we chased from our continent before? Will the colonizer agree or allow to see Uganda cooperate very well with Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Sudan, and South Sudan very well?
The problem we have in Africa, badly so, it is not the fellow black men that we're arguing with. It is the white man who is inside the black man's head.
Does the black man know that the white man is in his head?
In many cases, no.
Ah.
So they think that they are helping the government to run. Meanwhile, they are helping the white men to succeed. So it's a difficult one for me.
So what must we do to unite Africa in the real sense of unity?
On the document that I will share with the professor here, we need one currency.
One currency.
We need one stock exchange where oil and gold and etc. can be sold, like what Niger has done. Now, uranium out of Niger is selling at $200 a kg. But before the takeover, uranium was selling for 80 cents a kg.
Hey.
So all we're asking for, we're not asking for much. We're not asking for less. We are saying if this is $10 in Khartoum, it must be $10 in Niger. It must be $10 in Gaborone. It must be $10 in Harare and $10 in London and Beijing.
So in other words, you are happy about what is happening in Niger?
I cannot be sad as if I was happy when they're being abused. People are waking up. People are waking up, and there's no way we can avoid the time once the revolution has come. And unless African leaders wake up to hear the cries of the youth, this coup habit will not go into stop. But we have just started.
Bishop Maponga, ECOWAS was saying what Niger and all these other Western countries, what they are doing is wrong.
ECOWAS cannot even talk, and I'll leave my learned brother to respond to that. ECOWAS cannot even talk on democracy because Tinubu himself, he is in power and his case is still being argued, whether he's the legitimate leader or not. As to where he gets the audacity to go and fight in Niger when the Fulanis are not yet settled, when ISIS is not settled, when Boko Haram is not settled, when the Delta is up in flames and oil is being taken out, and now Nigeria has the guts of, in Biafra, It's not yet been discussed. And now you want to stand up from your country and go and extinguish other fires in other people's homes. When your own home is in fire.
Home was on fire.
I think Tinubu, there, I'm sorry, Honorable President, I think he was smoking his socks. It's not possible. It's not possible.
Doctor, what's your take on that?
Let me see, because I was talking about something that about this peace and then the budget and all these things. Do you know what America did during Trump time?
No, I don't know.
America used to
You're talking about Donald Trump time?
Yeah. America used to sponsor the Peace and Security Council of the African Union.
Yes.
30%.
Yes.
They removed the 30% immediately in 2019.
Why?
Because they don't want to sponsor.
Well,
now the African Union has to deal with these issues. They have to deal. That is why you see them now, they are very reluctant when there is war here. They are not even able to influence, even to take action. Sanction is not the solution. When you sanction the country that is going to war, you have to take action as the African Union. Because it is a time for solution, not time for talk. We have been talking a lot. But you have to bring solution to the table. Now during the Sudan war, two generals, the same thing what happened in South Sudan. The president, the vice president, they start fighting. This guy has an army.
This one?
200,000 army.
This one is an army.
And this one is a general army and a chief of
defense
of general command. They are the one now fighting, and they destroy the country. Both of them. Based on what? Who will sit? Who will sit on these things?
Who should sit in this chair?
Who should sit then?
I mean, for crying out, why don't you just get two chairs?
Destroying the whole nation.
Just get two chairs.
Now,
and use it there.
This is what President Salva did in South Sudan. When everybody went to be opposition, they came. Bashir brought the other group, and then they set him in Uganda here, in Entebbe here, and they divide. The solution that you have to have 5 vice presidents. In this world, there is no 5 vice presidents. 5 vice presidents for what?
They are trying to look for a solution out of the wilderness.
That is the solution they brought.
Yeah, out of the
and
wilderness.
Now, when people are talking about election, because when election comes, the person who will win, he will design his ministerial. He will select his ministerial. So the opposition will not going to have anything. That is why they want to prolong. They don't want. They say there is insecurity in the country. There will be no election. But the ruling party is saying no. We have to go for election. Let people determine who will lead them, who will be their president. This is one of the things that we are facing. Now you have Niger here. This is what Bishop Maponga said. This is not a coup. Let me tell you.
It's not a coup.
No.
What's happening in Niger? In Niger is not a coup.
No, it's not only in Niger. This is a revolution that's happening in Africa.
It's not a coup. It's a revolution.
It's non-stop. You will hear more. It's non-stop.
Is that good for our country?
That is why in Niger, did anybody die?
No one. Even in Zimbabwe.
Did they fought?
Did anyone die?
Not even a mosquito died in Zimbabwe.
In Mali, have you seen that? Somebody died in Burkina Faso? Nobody died. This is a revolution.
So it's a good thing. It should continue.
People are determined, because these young people, they say, it's enough. Enough is enough. If you are a good leader and you are doing everything, even if you stay for 100 years and you are doing things for
people love you.
People love you.
I mean, look at Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That guy, how long has he been in power?
They are there.
Look at Russia. How long has he been in power?
That is the problem we have.
Putin went and came back.
African
China.
People are educated now. The education is more. The young people are more educated. Whatever they want, they get it. You don't have to go to university to get the information. It is available everywhere.
On the phone?
Yes. It's there.
And I
you
think
can have your knowledge in one this small piece of. You can have everything you want to do.
And I think
you
also
can communicate globally in this small one.
Another factor which we need to develop.
So this is a revolution that's happening.
So it's not a coup, it's a revolution.
It's not a coup. Let us be. Okay. But the people who are forcing that this man should be restated, this is the wrong thing. If there was people against the leaders who have made coup,
Then we talk.
then we talk. But the,
Not an outsider.
The public has gone out supporting these people because they're fed up about these puppet leaders.
Joshua Maponga, you have something to add?
On top of that, I've hated with a passion what I call window dressing administrations,
Window dressing and
where you have a leader here, but the handlers are here. Then you spend all your time arguing and fighting with this one here. Meanwhile, this one is actually reporting to the ones that are behind him. It's high time as Africans.
we replace that.
Like in South Africa, we know that there are people who live in Stellenbosch, the Ruperts, the Oppenheimers, and etc. We know. And they're the ones who are running this one here, the ruling party. So instead of harassing ourselves with the ANC, when ANC does not have the money, why not make these ones the presidents? So that at least you can deal with what you deal with. I'm saying so because in many of our African political conversation, it is actually locked in to dealing with these kind of people who come in sometimes as opposition parties. But in the midst of their being opposition, they are actually not opposition. They are actually sponsored parties whose people and whose handlers have interest in our economies, and as proper capitalists do, they give $10 to the ruling party, then they give $50 to the opposition party. And let's meet at elections. Guess who is coming in? The one that has more money always gets it. So you play. Look at Savimbi. How did Savimbi die? When in fact they were sponsoring both the opposition and sponsoring the ruling party. So you go to Niger right now, it is actually a play of money between French money, Russian money, and China money.
And China. And America.
The question is, all these people, this is the most painful part, all these people I've mentioned have interest in your country, except you. They all have interests.
In your country, except yourself.
Except yourself. You don't have interests in your own country.
So that's the difference. Yeah, you are tuned to the Pan-African Show. This is a Free Your Mind lecture series with Bishop Maponga Marara III from Zimbabwe, and also have Dr. Tony Jaja, a peace ambassador for East and Horn of Africa. Now, let's move to another topic, Bishop Maponga. There has been BRICS in South Africa of recent. And I think one of the reasons why they are coming up with such is to create unity amongst countries that actually agree and move together. And I think they are doing that in anticipation that they can maybe try to work like America or British or Britain and so on. In your own observation, what is your take on the BRICS? Does it make logic to you?
IMF, World Bank are organizations that have interest in all the politics and the wars that are happening on the face of the earth. These are European systems of controlling governments around the world. Having said that, BRICS is giving alternative wholesale money to Africans.
Wholesale money.
But what Africa is not seeing is that in my world, I think Africa Union should have had its own Mansa Musa coin. By now, I'd call the coin actually Mansa Musa.
Mansa Musa coin.
Mansa Musa coin or Mansa Musa channel. So that 54 countries coming together to form our Afric stock, for example, vis-a-vis BRICS.
United States of Africa, USA.
Or UCA, United Kingdoms of Africa, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
That's
the reason Gaddafi is no longer with you.
Yes, that body is stronger and more financially able than BRICS and IMF put together. Based on our resources. Not based on what is in the bank now, but based on the capacity that we have. I think that if Africa can unite with its resources, BRICS, Euro, and American dollar cannot stand in face of the BRICS. So the danger of BRICS is, BRICS is now running around Africa Now they've picked South Africa. Now they're picking Egypt. They're picking Nigeria. All the big economies. They're moving them to BRICS. By the time Africa wants to unite, the strongest
giant ones are not with you.
the strongest amongst us
Are not with you.
will be compromised in BRICS and etc. So instead of talking BRICS, we needed to start talking about Africa or whatever you want to call it.
United States of Africa or
Because
United Kingdom of
that
Africa.
for me, it is the basis of the one stock exchange for Africa in one currency, one space where we can do business.
So from your discussion, you already have a problem with BRICS. It's a non-starter, according to you.
No, it's a wholesale. You're having you can now get some fresh loan from another body. Unlike where you are in ISAP, you are in IMF, you are in World Bank, you're already in debts there. But this is a new space where Africans again, if we are not careful, will be going there to get into newer debt. And if you put the old debt plus the newer debt, you're going to be slaves for the next 200 years.
Doctor, what's your take?
Yes, what I just want to add here is
BRICS.
BRICS is,
Do you think is it logical at this moment, or we needed to actually empower the idea of let Gaddafi to have United States of Africa, or now he's saying United Kingdom of Africa, whereby we would have one currency, would have one bank created by Africans, but also if it's about money, it must be money in an African currency, not a dollar.
Yeah, this is what he has just mentioned now about using the coin in the name of the
Mansa Musa.
Mansa Musa of Mali, the richest man on the planet before. Those who call themselves now the richest people on the earth. So BRICS, the ideas came. If you go now to see South Africa with the GDP that they have put, is 0.4 for South Africa. But when you go to China, it's 13 trillion, 20-something trillion with Russians and others. It's going to take us back again. Do you know when the United Nations was founded, there was 2 countries in Africa involved. They were part of it. It was Egypt and Ethiopia. So the same thing now is coming to another way. Now they add Egypt and they add Ethiopia now in this BRICS one now. Why? It's because of the GDP they have and then the population they have. This one is 100 million population, and Egypt is 100 million population too.
And Congo is 100 million.
Congo is 100 million population, but it was not added. Okay, let's talk about why we don't create our own currency as an African. We can mention, because now you have you have European Union, isn't it? You can have your own currency. They have euro, and each country has its own
Currency.
local currency.
But there's an overriding
But
currency.
there is a currency they are using in common that to trade with, which is the euro one. The same thing Africa can have. As 54 countries, we can have our own currency. We call it Afro, we call it Mansa Musa, whatever. But to have our own currency that can let us to compete.
They said if we open the borders,
Yes.
Doctor, using that,
Yes.
Africa is able to generate
3 trillion.
just by changing that.
Yes, by this.
And why are we not walking the talk,
trading among ourselves.
Bishop Maponga?
The people that are in power don't think like this. They went to Massachusetts and Cambridge. They still think that, this is the funny part, by the way, that our African leaders have been trained in the West, but the debt they're dealing with is coming from the East. So in terms of policy, we disjoint totally. Because we cannot be able to deal with this mindset or this money with this quality of mindset. How do we come out of it? It means a rewiring of our financial institutions to begin to appreciate and understand the value that we have in unity. Far outweighs the sovereignty of independent countries. It should be easy for Matoke to leave Uganda and be eaten in Johannesburg overnight without necessarily putting, as far as it is easy for people to take sugar from Mississippi and that sugar is eaten in Detroit in the US because there's no boundaries. So, and I think many of us who are educated seem to not understand the benefit of you being an engineer, getting a job in Ethiopian dam, and you being an agriculturalist, getting a teaching faculty in Cape Town. And I'm not coming to take a job, but it allows the continent to begin to have some fluidity. Those who like fishing will go to fishing places. Those who like hunting go to hunting places. Those who like mining will go to mining places. And Africa will settle itself according to its own demands.
Hey.
There's a benefit. United we stand.
But
Divided we fall.
the problem is when you remove these boundaries, then it means you're going to weaken these respective leaders in those countries. If I am the president of Kenya, and now you say we are one, where do you want to put me as the president of Kenya? What do I rule now? That's the problem.
You still remain as a governor in your country.
I've been a president, now you want to make me a governor.
That's power corruption. That's just a mindset. And honestly,
that is the issue here. That you hit it. Because nobody wants to be called a governor.
I have been a president of Kenya, of Tanzania, and now you want to call me Governor Irumba.
Now it's okay. Now we have the issue of integration of East Africa community. That integration, that means you are going to have your own one bank for East Africa. You're going to have your own government. You're going to have the one army for East Africa. That is this is another way of integration. SADC can do the same thing. ECOWAS can do the same thing.
Actually, I was saying these 6 countries that have fought,
these 6 countries, they
must actually unite.
They call it Eco 6 because we have in the continent we have 5 regions, and the Eco 6 is those in diaspora. Now the population of Africa is 1.3 billion, isn't it? We have 350 million outside who are in Caribbean, South America. They are all count as part of the African. They call it Region 6. And it's part of the constitution of the African Union. The reason why they call Region 6, it is called Eco 6, because they have to be a power economic to Africa. And this we can bring them back to build. We can bring them back to do something for Africa. Now is a big continent. Even if they are part of the other nation, but they are part of Africa as a continent. That is why they put them back. Do you know they have even their own prime minister in the African Union that is running the affairs of the diaspora?
Yeah.
In Eco 6. They have their own cabinet in these things. We have a capacity and ability to do it. Okay. Based on the resources. Okay, we talk about the BRICS. What do they put there? Only gold. They have not put anything else. Only gold. The gold is the one they put here. Now, Russian, they have 300,000 tons of gold.
Russia.
They put it as a reserve to be part of the BRICS. China, the same thing. The same thing during Zuma time. This is what they did in South Africa. And it's the same thing now they are going to do with what? With other countries. You have seen the Emirates left. The Gulf, the Saudi Arabia is part of it now. The Emirates is part of it now. The Argentina is part of it now. You see? These 6 countries now. Why? Because of the GBT they have. What they create. It's about what resources do you have in the country you have to back up your currency. Now you have this one green paper called $100.
The dollar
in Uganda is equivalent 365,000. One paper only. What is the value of that one paper?
$1 is equivalent 3,700 shillings Uganda.
The same thing in Congo.
And
3,500.
And to print that paper is less than 19 cents.
It's less than that.
19 cents.
So BRICS is good for Africa in another way, to let Africa think what to do for themselves. Not only to join the BRICS. It's another way of
solution. If it is a solution, it's a short-term solution.
It's a short-term solution. But it will let people to the same. Now, the Russian, even the Russian, they said, we will trade with the local currency with African countries. They didn't talk about dollar here. We will use your local currency. We will trade with you. When Iran was sanctioned, not to take any oil and whatever, what they did, and Venezuela was sanctioned, economic sanction, what they did, Iran used to take the oil to Venezuela, and they go and bring fruits from Venezuela to Iran.
Okay.
There is no dollar here.
Value for value.
A value for value. I give you.
That's butter system.
What do you have?
Barter trade.
This is what? Yes. What do you have? That's exchange.
Imagine, doctor, if we could take our gold into China and into Europe, and we get industries back, we get nuclear technology back. We don't need to be necessarily always receiving paper money, because I think that's where corruption really begins. When you are given a bag full of money, then some of it end up in your pocket. But imagine if we could start using our resources and trading resources for technology, resources for nuclear, resources for industries, resources for technology. Then we actually would find that what the amount of trade that goes out of Africa every year, if the payment of that trade came in as manufacturing, industries, and technologies, we would not be talking about non-employment in Africa.
In Africa.
But the problem, we are selling things and getting paper money, and that paper money does not arrive here after selling things.
Hey, where
it
does
disappears into Dubai, it disappears into Virgin Islands, into Mauritius, and it disappears somewhere there, and it is not taxable. It's money just that disappears from the country.
And the managers of the continent are aware of this and they're not doing anything about it?
It's a very good way to say it, that even some of them are involved in the transactions.
Now go to those banks in every nation in Africa. Ask them, do your central bank has $1 billion account now? They have inside. They don't have. The one who went and occupied Mexico and take over. And they are Sudanese at that time.
Wow.
In 1860. This is the real story. History that has happened. And they said these people, they fought like lions, like wolves. They don't fear. Just imagine in 1860 what kind of weapon they are using. What kind of guns they used to have. The ammunition, the artillery they have. But they were able to subdue 12,000 military forces of the Mexico. This is the reality.
So this means
is to tell you that every war where you see Americans sending troops to Iraq, the people who fight, they are not the white people. They are the black people.
So actually, that means
we have that is in our gene.
We are naturally fighters. But now that means, Bishop Maponga, that Africa does not either understand what they have as Africa.
The ability.
They don't understand themselves. Because I can tell you, if the Cavalega who fought the colonists the other time, if he was the one living today, probably he would also have failed. Yet today we have better technology. So maybe it also goes back to how do we teach these generations of today about who we are, our abilities in different spheres of life, including technology, by the way. You find that most of these technologies that are imported into Africa that we tend to think they are coming from there, actually it is us in the other continents doing them. Then we bring them here. Don't you think that there is also a problem of how we understand ourselves, our capabilities as a people in Africa? So should we, I don't want to keep blaming the white man even for our own weaknesses. Like now, failure to understand our abilities.
Knowledge is power. And I think a nation that does not know its history, does not know where it is, and most likely will not know where it is going. And the knowledge of the past on itself should give us a motivation to say how best do we handle the problems which we have in the present. And we have been demonized, and so has our technology been demonized, and our identity has been demonized also. And when you look at the condition...
But they've done that with our acceptance, Bishop Maponga. They do that, sometimes even using our very own selves.
I say yes and no on that. In some certain cases, it was survival. Because there are times when guns were put on our forefathers' heads.
Yeah.
And they had to survive so that another generation could go through it.
Yeah.
There's a time when literal butchering was happening. And people had to bow their heads. But now we're at a space now which is more advantaged than our fathers were. Where our fathers were forced to move into migrant labor, we're no longer being forced to do that.
We are going voluntarily.
We take our passports after graduation and we're going drown on the Mediterranean, trying to run away from our own continent. And you're an engineer in science who is trying to rush into Europe. And you can't convert jackfruit into juice. But you're you're a chemical engineer. You can't just take some jackfruit and squeeze and put in bottles using your science and sell. You want to go and sell yourself, not convert your knowledge into practice.
That's what I'm saying. Some of the problems, we are the causes. Because failure to understand yourself is not really a problem of the white man.
Yes and no again. The knowledge that you have, the software that you have, controls the hardware. The quality of the knowledge that you receive from primary school to high school, to college, to university, to degree, to post-degree, you may be shocked that that knowledge was helping you to forget yourself.
So it's embedded in the education system.
The very nature of the education system makes sure that you don't remember yourself. You don't respect your technologies, but you uphold colonial systems as superior to black technologies.
Dr. Tony, how do you think about that? Do you buy his argument?
Yes, and as we said, because the African people has been in cage of fear for many years. And I can give a credit to those who have invented whatever we are enjoying now, from light, from 120, was invented by the black people. But why they are not the one driving it, owning it, is because of that fear.
Fear of the unknown.
Fear to be killed, to be destroyed. The white man has taken over from them and used their names instead. Not even the name of people who have invented all these things. Everything we are using here in this world was invented by the black community. And this is the time to reverse these things. And this is the time to bring it back. We have been communicating with over 3,000 scientists now.
African scientists.
African scientists. 3,000. We communicate, we have emails and all these things. We met in Washington one time. In Reagan Center. That is 2018. And this is where the first time I met those guys who are running these affairs of the Institute of African Science. And they have registered their names. It is just a matter of time how to bring them back to Africa. We can do the same technology. There is nothing, everything that they need now to go to space is in Africa. Not in everywhere. Only in Africa. All the materials, the resources they are looking for, the minerals are here in Africa.
But do we know that we have them?
We have the knowledge. The good thing is, good leaders now are speaking out now.
Yeah.
If you want them, bring your manufacture here.
That's what President Museveni told them
This is what he said to them, and this is what this Brahim Traore said in Russia.
In Niger. You come and put your power station here.
Bring power station.
Because the materials are here, not there.
We cannot be taking platinum from Zimbabwe. into China.
Now we have other resources, minerals that even African, they don't want even to show them. We have tritium. We have 1 gram of tritium is $10,000. 1 gram, not 1 kilo.
1 gram.
And there's mountains of it.
It's mountain. We have them here. We have what is called Californium because it was discovered in California in 1950s by American. And we thought we don't have it. We have it here. They are very expensive. $10 million. This is a lot of money. But do we talk about it?
And that takes me to...
Do we talk about those resources, those minerals? We know about uranium. We know about gold. We know
platinum,
about copper, platinum, and all these small things. But there's others who are more expensive than the minerals we have, and we have them here. Why don't you ask yourself, why do they send engineers among the peacekeeping forces of the United Nations? Why do they send these things? There are many engineers on those uniform
to go and assess,
and they move around those bushes and they go around and all this free,
pretending to be pacifying peace.
Yes,
but they're actually pacifying minerals.
Whatever you have.
In Zimbabwe, there was a story once where
whatever you have,
one of the NGOs donated that they were going to dig balls, donating balls to the community.
Yes.
And while they're digging balls, they were actually taking soil samples.
Yes.
Of each ball. So at the end of
now you have water.
Imagine after 800 balls, they actually knew what is under the ground in 800 places in the country. And what do they want to do with that information?
They come and plunder.
That's why that Chinaman, when you say we have some mineral where they say no,
for the children
that one is not yours. It's for our children.
For our children.
The Chinese children.
Yes. Not your children in Africa either. And this is the same mentality for those who are now running the power economic in the world. Because this is what they are looking for. It's not because of your a good look or your good color that they sympathy with you. It's because of
they don't like you. They like what you have.
And that is what in COVID-19 they said, we want to depopulate Africa, and we will start from Africa by killing them. Why do you want to kill the human being?
They started with COVID.
Yes.
So COVID was manufactured primarily to kill Africa.
To kill Africa, to depopulate the population of the world.
But how come it ended up depopulating?
From 8 billion, they said they want to reduce it to 4 billion.
But doctor, if
we have to start where?
If what you are saying is true, how come it ended up depopulating actually the Europeans? They died more than Africans.
Let me say this one. You know,
because Europeans died more than Africans.
Human being. You know, there's something that Bill Gates. Do you know this Bill Gates is a very evil guy? Let me tell you.
Evil guy?
Yes. For you, he's a billionaire. But the Melinda Bill Gates Foundation, Melinda said, we will see African falling on the street, just dead people. How do you say something like that? And we are here clapping, like one day, 2018, Bill Gates was addressing the African Union leaders, the head of his state, because of what?
Money.
Is $100 and something billion of Bill Gates equivalent to the whole continent of Africa?
No.
So what gave him that money to come and address the head of his state, those who are the leaders of the nation?
Bishop Maponga, do you hold the same view that COVID-19 was manufactured?
Manufactured.
Reduce the population of Africa?
That's it.
If that is the argument, why is it that it is actually the Europeans who died more than Africans?
The thermometer, we use it for measuring temperature.
The thermometer?
Yeah, the telescope.
Yes.
We use it for looking into the sky.
Hey.
You know, and the scale, we use it for measuring weight.
Yes.
So when you hear a scientist saying that there will be a virus in 2025, what machine are they using?
To see
the future of a bacteria which you can't see. So I'm a lateral thinker, very logical. So there's no way you can see a bacteria that has not yet appeared. and you can see it in 2025.
Unless they were manufacturing it in the lab.
I did not say so. I'm glad your brain has come around. That you can only say it will be here in
If it is
2025.
you manufacturing
If you know.
But how come? How come?
So as he said, it's a game.
That's a game.
People are just playing.
COVID-19 was manufactured to
That is why.
reduce the population.
That is why when these things happening, do you know what the African Union said? The ministers of finance, they went and put the proposal. We need now to fight the COVID-19. We need 150 billion US dollars. Who gave the money? Did anybody give the money?
No.
The Europeans start giving themselves to survive for the whole year of COVID-19. But they did not give any money to Africa. After this proposal of the African Union for the whole continent to survive, they need 150 billion US dollars. None of them has been given money.
But also what surprised me during that time is that, especially even in Uganda here, our own doctor here, Dr. Gwang, manufactured Covidex that would treat COVID-19. They fought him almost to death.
Yes, they will do that.
They wanted to be the ones to approve whether it works or not.
That is what we said. Yeah. We need to have our African Health Organization.
So why don't we have our own to approve the African medicine?
The constitution, the policies that the governments are functioning under, continental policies, that in the World United Nations policies, and the intellectual property policies. The whole chain of these laws that are actually not there to improve the African people, but to make sure that even an invention right now of a car, they will tell you of ISO 96 or ISO 900, it does not meet the requirements. You come up with a drug, it must meet up some other requirements. You come up with food. Are you aware that the KFC you are eating here, it is being approved in Canada?
I don't know.
Your own tomatoes, they can actually declare them that they are not worth eating.
They are not, even the potatoes. They cannot,
so they will,
you cannot sell them.
Yes, they will go to a country which complies with them to supply potatoes into Uganda so that you can eat chips that are Canadian standard. But you have been eating these potatoes for the past hundreds of years. So when the business community, the law community, the agricultural community, the pharmaceutical community, the technological community is being managed by these policies, there is no way, like Uganda, for example, is like South Africa. You are producing BMW and Mercedes-Benz only for assembly. But as government, you must sign a treaty with the owners of the car that you are not going to come up with your own car because we are giving you our model and we are employing your people. So creativity is not allowed. When anyone comes up with an idea, those big companies buy those ideas and put them under the files. You are aware that we actually have solutions of making cars that travel on water. But those technologies cannot be brought to the light.
Those ideas are by African.
Because if they come from by Africa.
Bishop Maponga, Russia-Ukrainian war. Who is in the problem in this war? Is it Russia? Is it America? Is it Ukraine? By the way, recently I saw America blaming Uganda and other countries that remained, neutral. America wants you, if America has a problem with doctor here, they want to know your position, Bishop Maponga. What is your position? I am fighting with Dr. Jaja here. What is your position about my fighting with him? So Uganda said, no, we have no side. You are bad.
When wars like Ukraine, Russia start, strategically speaking, don't look at what is happening. Look at what is being stopped from happening and who is benefiting from it. Now, we want to find also another problem is find out what that country has as its best export to the rest of the world.
Ukraine.
And then ask a question, who wants that market that this one is supplying? So we start with number one, which is well known around the world, Ukraine being one of the best producers of wheat in the world.
Grain.
So question number two, who wants that market?
I don't know. Who is that?
America wants that market. So the war in Ukraine, according to me, is not a war of Ukraine and Russia, it's the war of bread. Now that Ukraine can no longer supply the wheat into the world market now that Ukraine is no longer in control of the bread market. The question is, where is Europe going to find money, going to find the grain to feed themselves? So now you need to go and do your research and find out who is now supplying wheat into Europe and at what price is that wheat going.
So, Bishop, do you want to say it is America?
I'm asking you, not you only, even all your listeners out there. Think with me. If Russia closes certain things, who now supplies that market? If Ukraine is pulled out, who else supplies that market? Because now you understand that war is business.
War is business.
War is business. While you guys are killing each other and burying each other, other people are standing.
So is Russia in business with America? Because if it's benefiting America and Russia is involved, are they playing Ukraine?
At the end of the day, when Russia must go to war, who supplies the weapons for those warheads and helicopters? So its own economy, it's able to go to war and purchase machinery wherever it is purchasing it. And those businesses that are supplying weapons, as long as guns are going off, can't you see it? Someone is banking. Whether it is Russia banking or it is actually American dollar has done its best during these last 4 or 5 months because of the war that is in Ukraine. They've unleashed all those weapons, and their weapon manufacturers, their profits have shot through the roof.
So, but I've seen Biden and the entire American system trying to side with Ukraine and feeling is so pitiful
my brother,
about.
I will not waste your words. If you are an ex-boyfriend to my wife, and then you come and buy a house next door to my house. Hey, Dr. Jaja. I mean, you want to come and buy a house next door to my house. Then while I'm coming from work, I find you and my wife talking over the wall.
Welcome.
That's too close. I follow what I'm saying. Honestly, America must be fair. They've never allowed Russia to take position in Cuba. Because from Cuba, New York is across the road. And Cuba up to date is still in sanctions because of their intention of communism in Cuba. Now, America goes into a country called Ukraine, which is not a member of NATO. And basically, they want to put their military camp next door to
Russia.
Next door.
Yes.
And I think America provoked war. That war, unfortunately, is the Ukrainians dying, not the Americans that are dying.
Not the Americans.
Because if Russia would do the same, or China would do the same, or North Korea would do the same, America would not like it. But America, I think for too long, they've thought themselves to be the big boys and the big dogs.
They're the headmasters of the world.
They've outlived their influence.
Dr. Tony, what do you think of the Ukrainian and Russian war? Who is the benefactor?
I will just put it as a game.
The war is a manufacture.
I said it is a manufacture.
The war is a manufacture.
They manufacture the war. Okay. Now, if you see now the sanction that has been imposed on Russia. America did not sanction one thing. America is still importing uranium from Russia for the power plant.
Are you sure you are joking?
Yes.
I'm not joking.
I saw that also.
America is still dealing with Russia?
It's dealing with Russia.
They are still doing business?
Yes.
America?
Yes.
You must be joking.
That's not a joke. That is the fact.
America
is doing business with Russia.
With Russia?
Yes. So this is the game here.
Double standards.
That's double standard.
I want you to repeat that. America is doing business with Russia.
With uranium business with Russia. As we are talking now.
During the war.
Whatever you see the statement with even those weapons they are supplying them to Ukraine. These are the business companies who are doing that, not government. There's no government can just dash billions of dollars to encourage war. You can go to the genesis. Why did this war started? Because Putin has closed over 700 American and the Western world companies. He closed them down. Putin. And these are the big giants, the big guys in the world. They call them big guys. That is why they create. Now they are the one who sponsor it. When you see this, sending billions of dollars here, sending billions.
They want to
of
recover
dollars.
their businesses.
They want to recover their businesses.
Hey,
This is a business problem.
this war.
This young man.
In brief,
Yes.
I want to be in brief. It is America benefiting from Russia-Ukrainian war.
benefiting because now he's trading with
Russia.
We're taking uranium from there. He did not stop uranium.
But Zelensky has been very much appreciating
And Zelensky-
America's intervention.
The problem with Zelensky, he was thinking he will be a member of NATO very quick. He will be a member of the European Union very quick. But now, he's failing it now.
Zelensky for me is a mess.
The statement from Biden, it's a long process for
You to become a
Ukraine
NATO
to be a NATO member.
Hey,
And Zelensky must just go back to his old profession.
Yes.
Which profession?
He's a cartoonist.
He's an actor.
He's an actor in a theater.
Yeah.
And it's not fair.
You want him to go back and start
That's
drawing
what he knows.
cartoons?
That's
He's
what
an
he knows.
actor.
Honestly, I think Zelensky and Putin in the same room.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Zelensky by no ways.
That
does
is why
he-
you see now many stakeholders, everybody want to be part of it. When our delegation from Africa went here, headed by the African Union chairman, somebody was insulting this African, they are coming to beg. Begging what? They are coming to bring solution to you. After they meet Zelensky, they went and met Putin, and they said, you must have peace.
Dialogue. You must dialogue.
Another analysis, somebody from the media was insulting the leaders of Africa, saying these people, they are coming to beg. Begging what? These are the head of the state sent by the African Union.
But you see,
And the problem now with America and Russia is to prevent Russia and China not to do business in Africa.
And
As President Museveni said, tango need two people to dance, isn't it?
I want to add
If you don't want to operate with us, you
Then
don't
leave
want
us
to
alone.
cooperate with us, we have a space, we can do business with others. This is what is paining the Western world now. And they are feeling it that Africa is getting far from them.
he's waking up.
And
I want to add something also that
Africa is giving. And we need it. We have to, this is as I said, this is the second liberation of Africa.
economic liberation.
And economic liberation, and that we have to stand. If you don't own your own economy in the country, you don't own the country.
I want to add on that in conclusion that we must learn from the Ukraine war that food is war.
food is war.
Yeah.
Food is war. So we need, as African countries, to become sustainable
Yes.
when it comes to our food supply.
Do we need FAO to be here?
He who
Those
feeds you,
organizations, do we need them to be here?
he who feeds you will control you. And right now, the whole world must tremble because of the wheat of Ukraine. So instead of us being told to join in the war, why not plant our own wheat? Zimbabwe right now has collected enough wheat to last us for the next 2 years. We have enough corn to last us for another 2 years. And we will not be importing anything. So slowly but surely, if every African country can begin to have a food security, because hungry people don't know politics.
Hungry
The
people.
stomach does not know politics.
All right.
That will bring us when we said, some leaders now in the stage, they said Africa is the future of the world. How? Future in what? And this is the time we have to determine future in what? What are we leading in the whole world? Yes, we have resources. Do we have the technology for that? You have to buy it, isn't it?
Yes.
But we can, as you send your these young people to go and learn, bring them back. We have scientists in Africa. But what are they doing? Thousands of
They
them.
can't manufacture a toothpick.
They can't manufacture a toothpick.
A toothpick. One toothpick.
And it's not just a time now of being talking, and no implementation. It's a time of action now. We have to have our own food security as a continent.
On security.
Like now the wheat of Ukraine and
So from
cycle.
politics
lot.
to economics to health
Health,
to
education.
import and export to laws to GATT to it's a system, it's a web, as it were, a spider web. That anywhere, if a fly touches anywhere on this web, it is bound to be stuck on it. So either you must have debt of pharmaceuticals, debt of fertilizers, debt of seeds, debt of foreign currency, but somewhere you must be on the web and continuously be a slave.
Oh. Any concluding remarks, Dr. Tony?
It's really very...
especially on what Africa must do going forward. I want us to end with that. What must we do going forward, socially, economically, and politically?
So let us talk about economically, because this is the umbrella that can carry the country, can carry the continent. As the African Union has established what is called Africa Intercontinental Free Trade. It's like a world trade organization. Now that's we have to implement this thing, so to trade among ourselves as an African, so that we can create the GDP of $3 trillion a year for the continent. That is one of the things that we have to speed the process of integrating this business and bordering free and all these things. Now Kenya has declared no visas to all the continent. I wish the other countries should do the same thing. But you can have policies to control whatever you have, even if you give free access to people, but you can have your own policies to do that, to control the system of your country, of your borders, but it has to be free. The reason why we want to make it free is not just free of movement, it's a free of goods, free of business, exchange of stocks between nations together. This is how things can change. Let us have to think about the health system for Africa. You have World Health Organization. Why don't we have African Health Organization?
Africa Health Organization.
For our own. Like we have the Trade Organization for the Africa. Health Organization, because it should not be determined by the World Health Organization and creating those, and then they're having those virus and sending to Africa, and then we have cholera here, we have this disease on this side. I have never seen African one time determining that, or even identifying that there is a disease called so. All these names come from outside. And then they impose on us.
Even Lake Victoria, where we are seated, it comes from outside.
Yes.
The lake.
So where is this Victoria? I think there is an indigenous name for this. They should be changed. Because Victoria is in British.
She's dead.
She's dead.
She's even dead.
Okay. So
but they should call Lake Victoria.
Why? There is no any reason for that. Okay, talking about the security, we should have that one to protect the continent. Now there is many military base for foreign, for Russian, for China, for American. There is no need for that. We have to protect our own borders. We have to train our own. Do you know there is no any by putting the military or the security on the category, this is the number so and so. What knowledge do they have, American, to teach people? If you go now and go to the index of the military and the security of America, do you know who taught them? They are African Americans who give them a new update from every year. The knowledge they got from them, not from the white people. We should be strong here. That is why they use them always to make their statement. They should, again, let me say this thing, and let all the leaders hear this one. For us to live in peace is stop being trained by outside. There is a statement that American made, the generals in hearing, in one of the Congress hearing, telling that we have been training military in Africa to make coup. It was very openly. This is not.
They are training you to make coup.
To make coup in Africa.
Continue fighting.
Continue fighting. Continue destroying yourself.
Not to secure your continent.
Not to secure your continent. And these things must stop. This thing must stop. Any foreign training should stop. Create your own training. How do you used to fight long time ago? Bring that knowledge and put in your military, in your security, and you can be able to be strong
Maponga,
in the continent.
The Kabalega Vunyoro fought using spears and shields to fight colonists out of his kingdom.